No flash, just a quiet certainty. And 3 varsity seasons that proved the race was already his. He stacked 4 NCAA Division I titles with the same calm precision that defined his racing. The mile outdoors in 1966, the 1,500 meters in 1968, and back-to-back indoor crowns in the 880 yards. Steady, relentless, lethal when the bell lap hit. The 1967 indoor final became his signature. A 148.9 world best on the 160-yard track, and the night he handed Jim Ryan his first loss in 2 years. The balance of the sport shifted in a single surge. Earlier that season at the NYAC Games, Patrick delivered a 3:59 3-mile, becoming only the 3rd collegian ever to break 4 minutes indoors.
That must be a very happy night for you, Dave.
Yes, it is very happy for me.
And in the relays, he was the anchor every team wanted. 7 Penn relay titles, 3 straight distance medley records. The quiet force who made the finish his domain. Tonight, we welcome Villanova's Dave Patrick to the Collegiate Athlete Hall of Fame. Well, we got started in 67 and that win over Jim Ryan. I mean, he hadn't lost since the Miller-Fillmore administration. So put us in your shoes in that race.
Well, probably the most inspiring statement I ever got from my coach, Sean Elliott, which probably didn't say I'm not really 100% sure what it meant. And when he wanted to make something that was really, really important, he wanted to make sure you listened, he made sure that he stuttered even more than he usually does. So right before the race, Jumbo put his hand on my shoulder, and he looked at me and he said, "Champ, I want you to go to the lead and improve your position." So all I thought was, okay, he means I better get out fast. Yeah. And I drew the 6th lane on a turn. It starts on the turn. The 6th lane, I'm going, oh, I'm going to foul somebody for sure because I got to get to the lead. And I pretended I was one of the sprinters on the team, or I pretended I was a 6-yard dash guy. And went out so fast, didn't impede anybody. Ran my first quarter so fast at like 51 and change, and Jumbo said, "I don't think he's going to finish." I really didn't think I was going to finish either. But needless to say, I held on, and ran well, and set that record, which stood for like 18 years as the American record. So.
I'll say the 1967 and 99th running of the New York Athletic Club Games, where you break the 4-minute mile barrier, just the 3rd collegian ever to do that. But there's no defending that title the next year. Why not?
Boy, that was really a defining moment for not only me, but most likely for the Villanova track team, and really a defining moment for the country. Joe Elliott came to me and he said, "Look, Dave, the black athletes on the team, you have to have a meeting because they don't want to run in your KC meet because they discriminate against black people and Jewish people. And they don't think they want to run in that. So he said, you're the captain, I want you to hold a meeting, and whatever you decide to do is what we'll live by." So we had a meeting, we made a lot of discussions. I would have to be honest, it was a little bit tough in a way because, I broke the 4-minute mile the year before. My picture was already on the cover because this is on a Wednesday and the meet is on Saturday. The meet director is a very good friend of mine, and I'm dating his daughter. So, putting all personal things aside, we voted 17-0 to boycott the New York Athletic Club meet.
Yes.
When things were really, really rough in the United States, and there was a lot of discrimination that was going on, and we just knew that from a principle standpoint, we had to stand by what we thought were our principles, and that galvanized our team because as close as we were before, we were rock solid. after doing what we thought was right for us and for the country and for the world, because it was a shocker around the world.
Also in 1967, your cross-country team was rock solid, going to Laramie, Wyoming to defend your championship, your team championship in cross-country. What obstacles did you face there?
Oh boy. So, I ran cross-country. Honestly, I didn't love it as much. It was really hard. I was fortunate enough that I was always a scorer on the team. But we had just won our first NCAA championship in cross-country in 1966 in Kansas. And so we had to defend our championship, and it happened to be in Laramie, Wyoming, 8,000 feet above sea level. It was like 15 to 30 mile an hour winds, 15 degrees, and a couple inches of blowing snow.
Perfect.
Wow. I mean, it was really tough. So Jumbo knew we couldn't get acclimated to high altitude and spend enough time up there because we got to go to classes. So he flew us in on a Friday afternoon. We got in, we got something to eat, we went to bed, and we wanted to get ready for the race. Lo and behold, my teammate Tom Donnelly got food poisoning, and Jumbo was going to scratch him. He comes over and says, "Tom, I can't let you run." And Tom Donnelly said, "I didn't come this far not to run. I want to run, okay?" And he was up all night sick. And in fact, it made me sick. He was throwing up so many times. But what that did, he said, "I'm running. I'm going to put forth my effort." And then what happened was all the other guys knew they were going to run hard, but now we knew we had to run extra hard because there's a good chance that Tom may not be in his best. And he wasn't, but he was our second man still that day. And after the race was over, we didn't really know if we won or not. It was so cold, we had to cut our shoes off our feet. It was like they were frozen on our feet. And then Air Force Academy started jumping up and down. We beat them. We gave it everything we could. And then after they took out some of the runners that were on teams, we beat Air Force Academy by 4 points to defend our title. And they gave us a ride back to the hotel in the Air Force bus.
Who were some of the men and women who inspired you?
Oh boy, I mean, that's a really good question. I'd have to start with my high school coach. I'd never run before. I was 15 years old. I really wanted to go out for soccer. My brother, who was a runner, previously 7 years older, said, "Dave, go out for cross country, go out for cross country." Okay, I said, "I'll go." So the first week I had to run 4 miles every day, and my legs were so sore at the end of those 5 days. I didn't know what to do. So when I got back to school on Monday, my coach, Baxter Burial, said, "What'd you do over the weekend?" And I said, "Mr. Burial, my legs were so sore, I didn't do anything." And he said, "Well, this is not a sport for you, because this is not a 5-day sport. This is a 7-day sport. And if you want to be good at it, you got to put in every day." So that's why I always remember 7 versus 5, because it is a 7-day. He said, go out for another sport, because if you can't put 7 days in, then you're not going to be at your best at this sport. So that moved that on. And my brother gave me a lot of opportunities to really learn, stuff about mental attitude. My first race just happened to be a varsity A race, and I'm like really nervous before the race. I thought it was on JVB or JVA or varsity B, varsity A. I went to the locker room, saw my name on varsity A, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I really had to keep going to the bathroom all the time because I was so nervous. And so my brother pulls me aside and he said, "Dave," he says, "you can win this race." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Everybody in this race, Dave, puts their pants on one leg at a time, the same as you. They're not any better than you." Okay? I never heard that phrase before. It sunk in. Got in the race, the gun went off, I took the lead and led the whole race, and I won the race. And that really kind of cemented that's where I gotta go. And then later on that, I met Dr. Glenn Cunningham, who maybe some of you people know. He was told after a fire in a schoolhouse that it burned his legs and that they wanted to amputate his legs. He said he would never walk again. Well, I met him at an assembly. And not only did he run again, he set the world record in the mile. He was the athlete of the 20th century for Madison Square Garden. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? If he can do what he did and make that unbelievable just progress to go from being amputated legs to being the best mom in the world, then what is holding me back? That helped me. And John Elliott, what I learned from him a lot was so many other just euphemisms, but he always said, take time to stop and smell the roses. When you've done something well, then appreciate it, enjoy it, and relish it. And then I guess the last thing is my teammates. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the cast of teammates that were so amazing, so pushed me every day. And we pushed each other every day to be better every day. And that's what's gotten me here where I am right now.
All right, here's the thing. If you get a chance to talk stories with Dave when this is over with, he's got a tremendous story about being in Knoxville in 1968, 2 days after Dr. King was assassinated, and also why he was not in Mexico City in 1968. Give it up right now, Dave.
Oh, pop up. Give him the mic. Good job.
Hammer time!